What is up, Power Ranger fans? Welcome to Off the Grid, a Power Rangers podcast. I'm your host, Jacob Bartley, and this is the show where we talk all things Power Rangers, everything going on in the world, including the toys, the comics, the any movies in production are going on, and of course the television shows. Thank you for joining me again. I am Jacob Bartley, and today we're going to be talking about this Power Rangers number 6, the follow-up to the Astronema, follow-up to Power Rangers number 5, and then the Astronema little side comic, Power Rangers Unlimited Heir to Darkness, following up that, which, if you're not familiar, Ecliptor, Astronema, both two characters from Power Rangers in Space are involved in what's going on here. And we got a bunch of stuff going on in the mythology of Power Rangers. We're also going to be talking about Dino Fury episode 8. I believe it's called Unexpected Guest. Let me pull up the notes here. Yes, Unexpected Guest. So we'll be talking about those things. Hope everybody's doing well. Let's jump right into it. Power Rangers number 6, full spoiler discussion. We are going to get into it. So basically the opening of this comic, which we didn't technically see like we saw here in the Astronema one-shot, we saw like a little origin for her. And this issue opens up with Ecliptor giving her little origin backstory to Trini, Zai, and Draken. And I'm wondering, in the comic, the Power Rangers Unlimited Heir to Darkness, and also, if I'm remembering correctly, in Power Rangers in Space, it was the villains who kind of took Astronema and then lied to her whole life. So I assumed that they were lying to her about Power Rangers killing her family, but maybe it was just a different Power Rangers team that had not as good morals as Power Rangers in the current day, and they actually did kill her family. So maybe we'll find out if that's official or not, but I don't think that Power Rangers actually killed her family. I think they obviously lied to her and built her up to be this warrior that hates Power Rangers. So that's the whole reasoning behind this. And in this, obviously, this Astronema hasn't fought Andros yet, and the In Space Rangers, that's just ways away out. So it's pretty cool to see her interacting with some of the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, and we'll get to that in a second here. But yeah, I really liked this. It just has some of my favorite things in Power Rangers meeting up. Of course, Mighty Morphin, and then In Space is one of the best seasons of Power Rangers. So this is just all types of awesome. So basically, Ecliptor wants to work with Trini and Zai and Draken in order to break free Jason, Zach, and Astronema, who have been arrested by SPD, which is so crazy because I just started watching SPD. And more than, it's always been something that I'm aware of, but just like more than ever, now that I'm getting more familiar with the series and the way the comics are handling it, it's like this whole big mythology where all the Ranger teams are at play. Any character from any world or any era of Power Rangers can come into play here and play a part. And that goes for the comics and the TV shows, which we're going to see in Dino Fury episode 8, which we're going to talk about here in a minute. But it is just so cool to have all these things crossing over. And it makes me think, like, you know how the MCU or the DCEU, whatever, they take stuff from the comics and that's their template. The comics are their source material to build more mature and more extravagant movie budget, high quality television budget style of content. The comics are the blueprint for that, while the mythology from the shows and the comics, I guess to a certain extent, are a blueprint for any future Power Rangers content. Like if you're going to do, let's just say they do a Shattered Grid series or a Shattered Grid movie series, then you can build off of, you can include anything from in space, Time Force, Lost Galaxy, whatever you want to do. You can have SPD in there. Like you can do so many different cool things, and it's so awesome because like you don't have to just make a Mighty Morphin movie or only focus on Mighty Morphin characters. You can have it all, which I'm so excited about and all for. So we see Jason and Astronema talking, and when I was reading this page, I was thinking like, wow, these are two of my favorite characters. My favorite Power Ranger, Jason. My second favorite villain, Astronema, who I never thought I'd see interacting ever, are here interacting, and dare I say, flirting a little bit, kind of, maybe flirting a little bit. I would ship that relationship all the way. I would love that. But we see them talking. She has like screws in her hand. She's like, threatening to attack Jason, and he's like, "Look, try. They'll put the bars up again, a force field up again." So they have this little banter going back and forth. But she's talking about wanting to kill them, and he's like, "Well, I'm glad you're so, you have a lot of conviction there." And he's just kind of, toying with her, bickering back and forth. So then we have Trini and Ecliptor infiltrating the SPD train. They jump on top of it. They say it's going 100 miles per hour. Ecliptor starts fighting the SPD agents. He knows one of them. He's like, he calls him Vorks is his name. And he's like, hey, no suit yet. Maybe they'll bump you up to the C or D squad. And this is so cool because I just started watching Power Rangers SPD. Perfect timing because I wouldn't have got that reference. And as we know, the main team that we follow in Power Rangers SPD is the B squad of SPD. So that is really cool that that they're referencing this here. And that's the thing. If you're familiar with these shows, it's going to pay off in the comics and vice versa, hopefully one day. So that's all kinds of awesome right there. I love that. So yeah, so then we get Trini gets in there. She's getting ready to free Jason and Zach, and they're like, peace out, Astronema. And Trini's like, nope, she's coming with us. So they get out. They take out one of the guards, which was pretty cool. Jason, they said, Jason, you took him out without killing him, which, of course, I'm like, of course they're not going to have Jason kill somebody, which I'm sure like a ton of people have died in these Power Rangers comics. And the Power Rangers have killed beings in battle, whether they're like monsters or whatever, they're still all beings. And that's a big thing here. Trini is like, no, we're not killing anybody, none of that. And of course there is a casualty later on, but one of the SPD members, Astronema, kills, which was pretty big because it really affected Trini. But real quick before we get there, we see Draken, which I'm so shocked they trust Draken to go out on his own to do something. Maybe they'd send Yale or Yale, whatever the name of the tiger is, or lion, whatever it is. Maybe they're like, oh, kill him if he tries to run away. But we see him go visit that cheating gambler, the Fendrick guy. He threatens him with Yale, and he gets the part that they needed for the ship, to fix the ship that he cheated them out of in the card game. But also he says, I need to speak with you on a private matter, and it leaves it at that. So keep an eye out for that. Of course, Lord Draken is up to no good, like always. You can't trust him, but of course they kind of need his expertise while they're on this mission. So then we see back to this escape mission here, and they escape with Astronema, and then some SPD bots come, and Jason, gets her out of the way and kind of saves her, and he says, don't say I never did anything for you. And this kind of builds on that kind of connection they had. They were kind of bickering, threatening to kill each other, or she was threatening to kill him, but kind of like having this little bit understanding of a back and forth. But of course, Astronema pulls a gun on him. She's aiming at him, but then that guard they took out earlier comes jumping out, and she takes out the guard, which was not something that Trini wanted to do. And I've been telling you guys, in a way, Trini's kind of the moral compass of the Rangers. She's the smartest one overall, and even more than Billy. I said it before plenty of times, but I say Billy's like the more technical smart, the more book smart. Trini's the more overall smart, book smart, street smart, all that stuff. Dealing with people, all those things. So she's kind of the leader, even though Jason's the leader, So she takes out that guard, and she says, don't say I never did anything for you. And the first time when he saves her, he's like holding her like this. And I'm like, they got a little something going on. And I don't know how old Astronema is compared to Jason. I know Jason's like 17 or something. So hopefully the ages line up well. But if they are around the same age, then hopefully we could see something, because what a power couple right there, Jason and Astronema. And I'm sure Andros would approve. I'm sure he would. So they all get away, and Astronema and Ecliptor leave together, and we kind of see that they having a discussion to end the issue, and Trini and Jason are talking about these things, and Trini's just very upset about that somebody was killed, and she's talking about how we can't do that. And then we see the last page, because that there's always a choice, she says, and we see Astronema training and still wanting to kill Rangers, and Trini says there's always a choice. That's what separates the good guys from the bad guys. And we see one of the Imperials like standing over lava or something with bodies burning in it. I think that's what was going on. I loved this issue. Absolutely loved it. The comics are just killing it right now. I was a little rocky the first 3-4 issues of Mighty Morphin and Power Rangers, but lately with the Green Ranger stuff going on in Mighty Morphin and the Astronema stuff going on in here, I absolutely loved it. What about you guys? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. This is one of my favorite issues ever, and of course it has Astronema on the cover, so of course I'm going to be a big fan of that. Again, let me know in the comment section what you thought of Power Rangers number 6, and if you still think it should be called Omega Rangers. This should be Omega Rangers number 6, by the way. All right, so let's talk about some Dino Fury. Like I said before, I don't love this show. I like it. It's cool. But this is honestly my favorite episode so far. And it's because it builds on what I was just talking about. All this connected mythology. And the main reason is it's called Unexpected Guests. We get this character named Mechanic, which he is from Ninja Steel and Super Ninja Steel. I had no idea. I haven't watched Ninja Steel yet. I'm on SPD. So we get him show up. And for all those people who watched Ninja Steel and Super Ninja Steel, you're like, oh my goodness, it's Mechanic. And that's pretty cool. So, and after learning stuff in this episode and then doing research afterwards, I'm just so fascinated with how, like, this is what they should be doing. Taking characters, and they've done it before, obviously. They have Tommy, the most popular Green Ranger, come back and be a main character on the show again. Like, they've done it to a certain extent, but they need to just keep building on this. This is where it can thrive, this is where it can stand out and be a little bit different, is like you have all these different time eras of Power Rangers and different teams of superheroes coming together, and you can have side characters like Mechanic come in and be a side character on another show. So it's just all types of awesome. I like this episode. It opened up with a Megazord fight. Like, it started with the Megazord fight. What was cool, of course, it had the kitty stuff with J-Borg and the monster dog and Boom Tower and all that stuff. But the good stuff is what comes from the Nexus Prism, which they're looking for, and it's something from Ninja Steel. It gave the Ninja Steel Rangers their power, and it's what they're looking for. They actually come in contact with it, and the Red Ranger reads its mind and puts his hand on it and reads its mind, I guess, and then he can see the Morphing Masters created the prism, sent it out into the galaxy, and basically to give Rangers powers, and now they sent it out again, and it has a meaning. So this is so cool that this season is going to tie into something that went on in Ninja Steel. Like, I want to go watch Ninja Steel now. Like, how was this Nexus Prism a known thing? Is it something that viewers knew right away if they watched Ninja Steel? I don't know, but I'm excited to find out, because like I said, this is some of the best stuff to me in Power Rangers, is connecting all these threads from the different shows and the different eras. So yeah, they end up fighting the dog, and I think it's Wolfgang and Boom Tower, and they defeat them, and Mucus gets the Sporix for Wolfgang, and Izzy gets the Sporix for Boom Tower, and then they get out of there. But other than the Nexus Prism and Mechanic being there, and by the way, I like Mechanic's humor. Like the J-Borg humor and some of the other weird stuff going on, I'm not for. But I think he fits and he's not too cheesy. Like I didn't mind him. I thought he was pretty cool. Uh, but one other than that stuff, which was obviously huge, we get Void Knight. We finally get some like character development for Void Knight. He's pulling his best Mr. Freeze impression, and he has a loved one in this container thing who's obviously he needs to save. And we didn't know what his mission was for, but he's using the sporks to power this machine to keep this person alive, and it's his lost love. And how that I haven't, like I said, I haven't seen anything past SPD other than Beast Morphers, but like very rarely do they actually give the villain characters any type of character development at all. So I really appreciate that they did that. So I'm not saying this show's good yet. It could be, but this is the most interesting and intriguing and moving the mythology and the story forward episode yet, and giving our villain now, when we see Void Knight going out of his way to do all this stuff, we know why he's doing it, which is pretty cool. I enjoyed it. Overall, a good week in Power Rangers content. We had this wonderful issue of Power Rangers number 6 and this pretty good episode of Power Rangers Ninja Steel, or excuse me, got Ninja Steel on the mind, of Power Rangers Dino Fury that really had a bunch of cool stuff in it. So yeah, so I enjoyed it. What about you guys? Again, let me know in the comments section. I would love to hear your thoughts on that. And that'll do it for this episode of Off the Grid of Power Rangers podcast. I'm working on my background. I bought a whiteboard. I'm shifting some stuff around. So and I realized my Megazord can sit. It's actually sitting right now, so it doesn't fall over because it doesn't have the best balance. But yes, thank you all for watching again. I am Jacob Bartley. Please subscribe to this YouTube channel if you like all things Power Rangers. Like I said, we'll be covering all Power Rangers content going forward. Thank you, and until next time, may the power protect you.